Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How are you all doing? It's that time of the year when perhaps a lot of the friends and family that might be here are somewhere warmer, perhaps watching over the internet. So even though they're far away in distance, as the psalm says on page 4, Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. We know where it counts. We're all together. They're right here. So sing with us and sing so they can hear you. 2, 3, 4.
Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, hine ma tov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad, 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 shevet achim gam yachad.
Beautiful. Let's lift it up. Beautiful.
Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, hine ma tov u'manayim.
Just voices now.
Shevet achim gam yachad, 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 shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. And I hope everybody's enjoying a beautiful summer. Tomorrow's supposed to be 37 degrees. Feels like summer. I actually went outside today without a jacket on and felt fine, which is strange in 21-degree weather, but it was wonderful. Anyway, here inside, in the coldest nights, on the warmest days, it is a wonderful atmosphere, a beautiful place to be. And to celebrate the beginning of Shabbat, we turn to page 13 and invite Chuck and Judy Domstein to come forward and celebrate Judy's birthday, which I believe is tomorrow. Is that correct? Happy birthday to you, as we welcome the Sabbath with our Shabbat lights.
Light is the foundation of life, yet impossible to touch. Light is flowers growing, fruit trees blossoming, photosynthesis and rainbows shimmering. Light is energy and romance, enlightenment and lightning. Light is red, violet, magenta, and blue. Lasers and campfires, warmth and illumination, the sunset and the dawn. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, eternal source of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We turn to page 34 for the Chadudi.
לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת לתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה.
We turn in our prayer books now to page 41. And at the top of the page, we pray together this prayer of finding God. We give each other hints in smiles and glances, in loving words, in sharp reminders. We give each other hints knowingly or unknowingly, in great thunderclaps or still small voices. We give each other hints in these bonds of family, in these gifts of friendship, spoken or unspoken, as together we find our way to God.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברכותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומכון, בחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קרבי וימרו, יש מרב המבורך, לעולם ולעד מהבעיה. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה. נעלה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא וימרו. לילה לה 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 לה
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We continue on page 45. If fear is like a rock, then let me be a hammer. If sorrow is a fire, then let me be the sea. When challenges arise, may my heart increase in strength, like the moon that shines brighter when the darkness falls. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, O God, who makes the evening fall. We continue on page 51. The light of God stirs one's heart so that it beats like a gentle wind filled with delightful fragrance, at the same time roaring like the waves of the sea. The whole Torah, the moral teachings, the commandments, the good deeds, and the commentaries all have as their objective to remove the roadblocks. That is this universal love that should be allowed to spread, to extend to every corner of our world. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves our people Israel and all your people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto le'olam va'ed.
As you're seated, we continue with the chanting of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue together at the bottom of page 61. Standing at the waters of the Red Sea, at the Mason-Dixon line, at the walls of the Warsaw Ghetto, the Berlin Wall, the wall that separates men from women, the privileged from the persecuted, perpetrator from victim, the master from the slave, we cry out, as did our ancestors in ancient days, let my people go, let all God's people be free, so that we may dance and sing together once again at the shores of the Red Sea.
יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We turn to page 64. Cause us, our Creator, to lie down in peace, and raise us up, O sovereign God, to renewed life and peace. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and be our shield of mercy and of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות, את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות, את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם,
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai sifatai tivtachu fi agidehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
Together at the bottom of 69. Prayer invites us to let God's presence suffuse our spirits, to let God's will prevail in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Blessed are you, O God, who renews all things.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated as we pray silently.
רצון אמרי פי legion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri vegoali Adonai tzuri vegoali May the words of my mouth be acceptable to you the meditations of my heart be pleasing unto you, O God, my rock and my Redeemer. May the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God.
Please turn to page 72 with me as we turn our thoughts to healing. Read together with me in the English. O God, on the Sabbath we are prohibited from making requests of you, yet here is my request. Grant me the strength to face with openness and courage the challenges before me, to receive the care I need so that I may extend that care to others. Translate my prayers into healing, my tears into balms of wholeness. Holy One of blessing, I am sorry to ask favors of you on this sacred day, but please be by my side as I make this difficult journey from anxiety to prayer, from healing to wholeness again.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotem. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of, and still we say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As my grandma Ida of blessed memory would say, after we've had a week like this, es ist schwer zu sein a Yid. It's not easy being a Jew. And this week I know we are all feeling that. The horrific attack in France, which has all Frenchmen proclaiming Je suis Charlie, but alas, very few declaring Je suis Juif, I am a Jew, in solidarity with those who were slaughtered in the kosher market at the same time. Jimmy Carter, the Chacham, then going on national television and somehow finding a way to blame Israel
for the attacks. If Israel was responsible for France, I assume that they are also responsible for the Sunni Shiite violence in Iraq, ISIS's wholesale slaughter of innocents, the oppression of the Syrian people, the atrocities committed by Boko Haram, not to mention other disasters that must also be Israel's doing, like Ebola, global warming, and the Celebrity Apprentice. Who would have thunk that Billy Carter would actually turn out to be the brains of the family? So, it's not easy being a Jew with all of these pharaohs surrounding us, whose hearts, like that of the pharaoh in our Torah portion, so hardened to basic humanity, simple morality, the most elemental shred of compassion. And unfortunately, no plagues seem to be pouring down from the heavens to defeat these pharaohs. But we wouldn't give for some well-placed locusts or frogs right now. But if it's not easy being a Jew, it's also not easy being a rabbi. Because frankly, although the events of this past week cannot be ignored here tonight, as a rabbi interested in drawing people to Judaism, I'd much prefer you leave this beautiful Shabbat service feeling uplifted, inspired, spiritually renewed, rather than utterly and completely depressed. So let's all agree that we mourn the needless loss of life, decry anti-Semitism, and deplore the plague of terrorism that confronts us. Let's agree, but then let's set that anger aside so that we can focus for a moment on the very beginning of our Torah portion, the part before we get to the hardened hearts, the blood, and the locusts. The portion begins with an introduction. God says to Moses, I am Yud-He-Vav-He. I appeared to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but with them I used the name El Shaddai. What a strange thing for God to say. Why would the eternal God go by a nickname, a pen name, or a nom de guerre? Now, certainly, this may be an attempt by the biblical author to explain the use of different names for the divine throughout the Torah. You may have heard of the documentary hypothesis, which states that there were 4 basic oral texts, J, E, P, and D, which were later edited by a redactor into what we now know as the Torah. And one of the ways you can distinguish the different documents is by the name of God that each employs. So J is texts that use Yud-He-Vav-He. E use Elohim. P are the priestly documents like Leviticus, and D basically is the book of Deuteronomy. But El Shaddai, it is a strange one. We don't even really know what it means. Now the word Shaddayim, plural in Hebrew, means a pair of breasts. You should excuse my expression. A perfectly good image for God in my personal opinion, but I'm a rabbi, but I'm still a man, you understand? But scholars seem to think that it comes instead from an Akkadian word for mountain, which I guess could be seen to be related in some ways. And Yud-He-Vav-He? Well, we don't even know how it was pronounced, no less what it meant. Certainly not Adonai, my Lord, as we read it now when we chant from the Torah. In the 19th century, some scholars took the vowels from the word Adonai, superimposed them on the letters Yud-He-Vav-He, and came up with the name Yehovah, hence Jehovah's Witnesses. But then later, grammatical scholars posited that it must instead have been pronounced Yahweh. I personally believe that it was Yedwab, but so far. And the reason we do not know the pronunciation is that the name was spoken only once a year by the high priest on Yom Kippur in the Holy of Holies. And I love that about Judaism. We have a God whose name we do not even know how to pronounce. Our God is ineffable, beyond names, beyond labels. And if you take Rabbi Larry Kushner's suggestion, who grew up here in Detroit, it may very well be that the letters, all of which are vowels or aspirants, might indeed have been pronounced Wah, a breath, the breath of God within each of us, the breath that makes us human, the breath that is the source of all that is good within us. What is difficult, so very difficult, however, is to remember that every human being has that breath of God within them as well. The Jewish God, Yahweh, Yehovah, Adonai, however you pronounce it, is not exclusively Jewish, even though we were the ones to discover God's existence in the world, unified existence. We are not the only people to have a spark of God within us, but the effort to remember that the other is also a child of God is very difficult. How are we to accept that even the pharaohs of this world share that sacred spark? It seems inconceivable, especially to those who are their victims. But that is what our tradition somehow calls upon us to do. You know the Midrash. We teach it every year on Passover. The angels on high are celebrating as the children of Israel rush to safety to the other side of the Red Sea. But God scolds them, saying, "My children, the Egyptians are drowning, and you are singing." Now, does this call to remain human and humane, even in the face of evil, mean that we should go easy on our modern-day pharaohs, these terrorists and those who support, aid, and abet them? Not at all. After all, God did send Moses in there with his plagues to kick some serious pharaoh tuchus. But it does call us not to lose our own humanity through our abhorrence of the other, to hate evil without becoming hatred itself. That is the Jewish balancing act. To remain vigilant but open, politically active but racially unbiased. To oppose evil with all of our strength without letting the very battle tarnish our own souls. To mourn, but at the very same time, to remain optimistic enough to act in order to make the world around us a better place. And yes, even to allow ourselves to sing and be joyful on what could otherwise be a very somber Shabbat. And that, my friends, is why it is truly schwer zu sein a Yid, why it is truly difficult to be a Jew. Because we are a people caused to oppose tyranny and oppression with all of our hearts, without permitting our own hearts to become hardened in the process. So it is not easy being a Jew, but it is also wonderful and uplifting and powerful and holy. Shabbat Shalom.
הבט משמיים רד, guck herab von Himmel und seh, mejot deine Kinder, plagt deine Kinder, oi Herr unser bitte Geschrei, habet mich Shamayim ured. Es ist schwer zu sein. Aid, me brennt uns doch die Tried. Wir klagen und wir jammern, wenn wirst du sich erbarmen, oi Tate, oi Vater getreie. Du warfst von Wasser uns in Feier, sie ist uns bitter, sie ist nicht Kind. Du bist doch unser Gott, Befreier, es ist schwer zu sein, Aid. It's hard to be a Jew. We barely make it through. Our hearts are weak and weary. We seek your sanctuary. Oh, Father, please answer our prayers. We pass through water and through fire. It's always bitter, never sweet. Du bist doch unser Gott, Befreier, es ist schwer zu sein,
I would now like to call the Bima, member of our executive committee, Hillary King, to come forward and deliver our congregational announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. If you are looking for something to do on a chilly night this winter, then on Thursday, January 22nd, come to Temple for dinner and a movie, along with a lively discussion with Rabbi Hornston. The film is Sturgeon Queens, which is based on the book Russ and Daughters. The movie will be shown at 5 p.m. with dinner and discussion at 6:45. If you're a morning person, then join Brotherhood for Breakfast on Sunday, January 25th at 9:45 a.m. when Temple member Bernie Gleiberman is welcomed as the guest speaker. An urban-suburban development specialist, Bernie will discuss Detroit's current housing landscape and what the future may hold. All are welcome. The Temple Israel Sisterhood Annual Mahjong Tournament, featuring both competitive and non-competitive play options. Okay, by a show of hands, has anyone seen a non-competitive Mahjong game? Is just around the corner on Thursday, January 29th. Bring a friend, your Mahjong group, or come alone to enjoy the evening. Prizes and refreshments will be included. On January 30th, we lift our voices, excite our senses, and elevate our souls during Shir HaShabbat. Immerse yourself in this Shabbat experience with music that brings new depth to our prayers and technology to engage our minds. And there's a teaser out there, right?
Yes.
On the website.
On the website, in your inboxes.
Oh, your inboxes.
Should be, just don't delete them.
Right, in your inboxes and on Facebook. For further information to RSVP or volunteer for any of these programs, check the information table as you leave or call the Temple office during regular business hours. Please join us after services for the Oneg and Shabbat greetings. On behalf of the officers and members of the Board of Trustees, let me wish each of you a happy and healthy new year, and Shabbat Shalom.
Now, as we turn to page 189, I think we have a couple of kids out here. If you're around age 11 or younger, please help us open the ark as we rise for the Aleinu.
שלא שמתם
חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים, משתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Saying Kaddish for you breaks my teeth. The words come out in shards and fragments. I want the words to carry your soul, but I still want to hold your body. So the words clash and shatter and break in my mouth. My heart is broken too. But I still say Kaddish, putting the pieces together word by word. They will never be whole, but neither will I. We remember those in our congregation and community who have died in the past 30 days, the period of Shloshim. Sylvia Baker, Howard Baver, Ella Berman, Ludwig Berman, Maggie Barris, Norman Block, Karen Bloom, Barbara Shapiro Boren, Winifred Cooper Broder, Vainia Brodskaya, Annabelle Chaikin, Hilda Dumchen, Shirley Fink, Deborah Friedman, Glenn Allen Goldstrom, Rita Grants, Maury Green, Ida Greenstein, Ruth Lehman, Sherry Lowenthal, Sarah Lila Manson, Ellen Joel Perlman, Margaret Radin, Gerald Radner, Sharon Rakotz, Barry Rankin, Joyce Sakwa, Isabel Schechter, Rosalind Schwartz, Paula Shulak, Amy Singer, Frank Yale Summers, Ruth Trareg, Estelle Robinson. We also recall the names of those whose yortzites occur on this Shabbat: Jesse Antman, Milton Atlas, Alan Bernstein, Sarah Deitch, Nettie Deutsch, Pearl Ferenc, Rose Frank, Dr. Andrew Friedman, Jeanette Gastworth, Harry Glassman, Betty Goldstein, Emmanuel Goutman, Constance Green, Archie Gray, Molly Haas, Morris Maish Hertzbach, Bernard Indenbaum, Shirley Indenbaum, Evelyn Carball, Harry Kifferstein, Bertha Bertie Klein, Janet Lakritz, Edward Leon, Irving Levine, Alfred Lipshaw, Leon London, Harry Lutwin, Lena Ressler, James Richer, Dr. Harold Doc Rowland, Lori Ruskin, Albert Sandubray, Rachel Sandubray, Belle Soper, Lawrence Weingarten, Irving Winston, Ben Meyer, Saul Yatz, Lexi Chasen, Molly Haas, Lynn Leon, Phyllis Stoller, Henrietta Stein, Eleanor Smith, Martin Wonder, Morris Sandubray, Louis Sandubray, Albert Winnick, Eileen Silverman, William Jukowitz, Cecia Goldberg, Morris Sofer, Barbara Morris, Riva Wishnow, Gary Bush, Harold Lax, Edith Lax, Phyllis Kelman, and Nathan Cohen. We remember them with love and honor them with words of Kaddish, which can be found on page 199. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach lirutei v'yamnich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dochol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah v'vorach le'olam le'olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, V'tadar, v't'aleh, v't'halal, shemei d'kudisha, brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We pray that the source of peace sends peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. We say together, amen.
Conclude our service at the bottom of 199 with Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom.